Progress.
Okay, friends, this week's Parsha, we have the mitzvah of tshuva. What could be more opportune than in the week before Rosh Hashanah to learn about the mitzvah of tshuva? Ki ha-mitzvah hazois. Ki ha-mitzvah hazois. Asher anoichi mitzavcha yom loy nifleis hi memcha. It's not hidden. V'loy rechaika hi. Loy b'shamayim hi. It's not in the heavens. That you're good to say, Mi yahlel lanu hashamayma. Who would bring us up to heaven? V'kachel lanu v'loy me'ever layam hi. It's not overseas. Leimar miyaver lanu alever hayam. Rashi points out, it's not in the heavens. If it was in the heavens, you'd got to go there. It's not me'ever layam. If it was overseas, you'd have to go there. Really? If it was on the moon, I would have to go there to do tshuva? Would I? Why would I have to go there? And why does the Torah need to say, by the way, it's not on the moon? Does it say, Ukshartem la'ois al yadecha? But by the way, loy b'shamayim hi. Don't think tefillin is on the moon. Nah, you could go to a sefer in Lakewood and get it. Well, does the Torah say, Sukkah, sit in the sukkah, don't worry, loy me'ever layam hi. You don't have to go to the Far East. There's no other mitzvah the Torah says, by the way, don't worry, you won't have to travel too far. But it sounds like by tshuva, the Torah needs to say it's not in the heaven. It's not me'ever layam. Why would I think it is in the heaven? Why would I think it is me'ever layam? Says the Nefesh Chaim, says Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner, because it is in the heaven. And it is me'ever layam. Why? How is tshuva? Because we believe that when a person does an Aveira, he destroys Olamais. He destroys the upper worlds. He destroys universes. It causes devastation throughout the universe. A person destroys Olamais. The Nefesh Chaim famously points out that we know Nadav and Avihu, when they did an Aveira, they were zapped immediately. And Titus Harasha, when he committed the unspeakable act in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, nothing happened to him. Reb Chaim Volozhiner teaches, for a Jew to have an improper thought, it's more devastating even than the act of Titus Harasha. And there's one simple reason. The reason is because we're plugged into the system and they are not plugged into the system. And therefore our actions have reverberations throughout the universe. We destroy Olamais. But the nations of the world, they're not plugged into the system. So therefore you would think, since if you did an Aveira, you destroyed worlds in the Shamayim, so you would think you need to go there to fix it. How else are you going to correct it? How else are you going to be masakin it? You ruined it, you got to fix it. So the Torah said, no, don't worry. The mitzvah of tshuva, loy b'shamayim hi. Yes, you destroyed Olamais. Yes, your actions reverberated in the heavens, but you don't have to go there. That's not where the mitzvah lays. You rectify it here, and it will cause reparation above by itself. But there's another thing we believe. We believe, there's always a question. How should you think of yourself? Should you think that you're a good guy? Should you think you're a bad guy? On the one hand, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, don't view yourself like a Rasha. Don't consider yourself a Rasha. Don't make yourself a Rasha. On the other hand, the Gemara Nida says that even if the whole world says you're a tzaddik, you should consider yourself a Rasha. So what should you do? In Avos it says you shouldn't consider yourself a Rasha. So should you consider yourself a good guy or a bad guy? And you hear this, Reb Hillel? The Rabbeinu Yoina says that you should do neither. Don't consider yourself a good guy or a bad guy. The Gemara in Kedushin says, La'olam yira adam es asmai, mechza al mechza. You should always consider yourself 50-50. And your next action will tilt the scales and will be the determining factor of what happens in this world. Which means that first of all, don't consider yourself a tzaddik, don't consider yourself a rasha. You consider yourself equally balanced, and your next act will determine your fate and the fate of the whole world. Which means we believe that when there's tsunamis, me'ever layam, we caused it. And we believe that our actions here have ramifications all over the world, me'ever layam. So therefore, says Reb Chaim Volozhiner, I would have thought that in order to do tshuva, now you need to go to the Far East and make some kind of reparation over there. Because you were goyreim that disaster there. So you would have to go me'ever layam. So the Torah needs to say, no, v'loy me'ever layam. You did it, but you don't need to go there to repair it. You can repair it in your own room. But the fact that the Torah doesn't say by any mitzvah, it says by tshuva, loy b'shamayim hi, v'loy me'ever layam, it's because the ramification of your masim were higia to the shamayim and le'ever layam. I saw this morning in an old Torah Ladas, quoting Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner. That's the meaning of the pasuk. Loy b'shamayim hi. It's the mitzvah is not in the heavens. You would think it is, because what you did caused destruction in the heavens. And loy me'ever layam, the mitzvah is not overseas, but you would think it is. Why? Because that's where your maisim were goyreim chorben over there. Okay, so that's Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner on Ki HaMitzvah Hazois.
Recording stopped.